Welcome everybody. Wednesday, the 25th day of Tevet, corresponding to January the 2nd. Today's breakfast, graciously sponsored Le'ilui Nishmat Abraham Ben Penina Alav Shalom by Mr. Efi Ozan and family. May be the words of today's class and berachot that the Kahal will recite be an elevation to his soul. You're welcome to look at the sign at the mega screen on your left. Thank you so much for your generosity and kindness. No one can deny the great night we had yesterday evening on the commemoration of the Sheloshim of our Chief Rabbi, Hacham Shaul Kassin, in which we were able to welcome my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Meir Yedid from Sha'arei Sion. So Be'ezat Hashem, our technical department is working on the link of the class. So Be'ezat Hashem, Beli Neder, it will be sent to the Kahal later on. But I'll tell you some of the great things the Rabbi mentioned discussing the life of our Chief Rabbi, who not only merited to have Arichut Yamim, he was 97 years old, the day that he returned his soul to the Almighty, but actually he accomplished great things in his life, and always with a smile, with pleasantness, with dedication, with sacrifice for the welfare of the community. And when I say welfare, it means all levels of welfare. If it's physical, emotional, financial, but especially spiritual. Someone who loved Hashem, someone who loved people, someone who greeted people with a smile, irrelevant of the situation why a meeting was taking place. His yearning, thank you gentlemen, his yearning for Mashiach's arrival was represented by his sacrifice of waking up daily at 2 o'clock in the morning to recite the special prayer for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, known as Tikkun Hasod. Also, his way of praying, and I mentioned this in the Riyadh the other day, he prayed with a lot of, how can I say this, intensity. He prayed with a lot of kavanah. He prayed with ways that we only wish to pray in that way, despite the age and despite perhaps when a person reaches certain age in life, slows down. And yesterday's message was that you should never slow down until Shamayim tells you, slow down. And that basically means the day that a person will meet the Creator. We have heard many stories about the great Rabbi and many stories of inspiration that Be'ezat Hashem will be shared with the Kahal via WhatsApp or via email. And you can only get that if you are registered. If you are not registered, give me your information and Beli Neder will try to add you to the list before we send this out later on today. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shehakol Nihiya B'Baruch. Amen. Today, we like to discuss a topic mentioned in today's Gemara. It's a topic that is not new. It's a topic that we have discussed this in the past, but it's a topic that I believe that we cannot afford not to talk about it one more time. The Gemara of today discusses in Masechet Baba Mesiah the concept of hurting people. Chas v'shalom, I know that it's not the most popular topic, but guess what? This is the menu of the day, and whatever we have, we try to deliver to the Kahal. And I think that is a topic that it's important to talk about it, because today, hurting people is no longer limited to talking about people. Today you hurt people through social media, through Twitter, through all the platforms that are outside available in the name of technology, in the name of society. And this is the reason why lately many social media platforms are doing teshuvah. What does it mean are doing teshuvah? Are being more careful in what they allow and they don't allow to post. I don't want to give you statistics or numbers, but I read an article the other day that one of the most popular one, Facebook, is getting hit from all sides. If it's through terrorism or anti-Semitism or bullying, which it became something renewed in our days. And bullying is not necessarily limited to children in school. Some people get bullied at home, by the spouse, by a parent, has v'shalom, by siblings. So obviously, the topic of the Torah of today's class is an eternal topic. And although the Gemara discusses several ways that people get hurt, one of them is physical, has v'shalom, another one is financial, which is not less problematic because financial pain, and financial pain means when somebody hurts you financially, it's not something that, okay, it's only money. True, it's only money. But what are the side effects of the pain and anguish and suffering, especially if the victims are individuals who reach a certain age, that they should not be worrying about this. But this is a topic that the Gemara discusses at length. But today's main topic is hurting people through the power of speech. This is the topic of today's Gemara, known as Ona'at Devarim. So the Pasuk writes, Lo tonu ish et amito. You're not allowed to cause suffering to your friend. And the Gemara concludes, and it says, the concept of Ona'at Devarim, hurting people with words. The Gemara brings a few examples. Let's say a person who did teshuvah, okay? And suddenly you come to the person and you ask him, let me ask you a question. Before you did teshuvah, did you ever eat in McDonald's? Sure, I did. So how was it? Is it really worth it? To ask this question to a person who does teshuvah is an avon from the Torah. We say in our daily prayers, Al tiskor lanu avonot rishonim. We asking God, God, do me a favor. When you have to deal with us, don't go back to day one. Don't go back to my, Rosh Hashanah. Yani, settle the account with today's way. Or a person who came to learn Torah and is a convert, you're not allowed to say to the person, how can you learn Torah? You ate taref. You were conceived by non-Jewish parents. That's also a prohibition from the Torah. Or another case, somebody comes to you and asks you, Mehila, where can I buy this tripod for the cell phone? And you tell him, go to Sarah's tent. Yani, go to the kosher market. Or go speak to him. He sells. And he only sells ties and shirts. But you just make fun of the person. That's also a Torah prohibition. And that's where bullying comes into play. Okay? And we have young kids in the audience. Have you heard of this word? Bullying? Beautiful. Bullying, it hurts people. It hurts children. I don't want to speak too much about it due to the young audience in our room today. But no one can deny that bullying had become very painful and very unfortunate in our days, causing people pain, causing people suffering. And the Gemara continues bringing different reasons. And it says, if it's money damage, you can pay back. If it's physical damage, you get the book thrown at you. What does it mean? The Gemara in Baba Kama, 8th chapter, Ahovel behavero hayav behamisha devarim, the Gemara says. A person that hurts physically another person is liable for 5 penalties. Nezek, ripui, sa'ar, shevet, boshet. The amount of the damage, the amount of the healing, recovery, the loss of income, the suffering, and the embarrassment. This is how you assess physical damage. But how do you assess, or how do we assess emotional pain? Guess what? There is no value to emotional pain. There is no money that can fix emotional pain. And somebody may disagree. Rabbi, if they give me $1 million, I'm willing. Don't fool yourself. Emotional pain, in some cases, could be the point of no return in the life of the person. Because what does emotional pain causes? Causes a, let's call it a breakdown of the emotions and the mind of the person. And we need to be honest with ourselves. Like it or not, emotions and the mind play a huge role in the life of the person. You cannot say, no, this coming Monday, by the way, if you're going to be in town, send a message at home to your wives from me. This coming Monday evening, for ladies only, and I clarify, for ladies only, we're going to have a special class given by a lady, obviously, discussing the topic of emotional relationships between husband and wife. Not physical, not financial, but emotional relationship between husband and wife. And it doesn't matter how long is the person married. I think that every marriage can utilize a boost of energy or a spark to reignite the love and the affection and the feelings for each and every one. Belineder will be sending an email today to the Kahal Kadosh, and please send your wives. And I repeat, this class is for ladies only. For men, I'll give it to you now while we talk.
What time?
For ladies only, 8:30.
When? Today?
This coming Monday night. Monday, January 7th. So please clear the date, okay? Now, so let's talk about hurting people verbally. I'm going to use a very simple case, marriage. That's simple. You'd be surprised how many hours a week I spend with couples about this topic. Several hours a week. Sometimes in person, sometimes on the phone, sometimes with a couple, sometimes with a husband, which seems to be usually, the one who doesn't treat the wife properly. We're not saying that ladies are saints. I apologize to the female audience watching and listening. There are some ladies that also are very, how can I say to you, yes, it will be God willing. The answer to Facebook Live is that God willing will be recorded. Now, as I said before, I'm not saying that only men carry the liability at home. In some cases, the wife has a personality that is, how can I say this respectfully, verbally aggressive, perhaps. And at the end of the day, the message of today's class is not to cast the blame on the husband or on the wife, but it's only to create an awareness that the most verbal abuse or mistreatment exists at home, the faster the marriage crumbles, and the faster the Shekhinah leaves home. We need to understand one thing. Today we learn in the Gemara upstairs before your minyan. There are 4 types of testimonies that God utilizes to videotape the actions of the person. One opinion says the ceiling and the walls of the home. Like you have a video cameras in the room somewhere. All rooms today have video cameras, not in the bathroom, relax. Just in case. Just in case. For security purposes, obviously. So that's one. The ceiling and the walls. Another one, the Gemara said, the 2 malachim, the 2 angels who escort the person constantly. C'est pasuk. Ki malachav yesavelach. Hashem commands the malachim to travel with us and to hold our hands through life. Option number 3, the neshama of the person. Option number 4, the body parts of the person. So let's say a person cursed their wife, or a wife cursed the husband, or a child, God forbid. That same mouth testifies against the person's actions. Now, it's a bit scary, even the topic that I'm talking about, because it basically, we don't have privacy. A person cannot say, at home, I do what I want, and on the street, I do different. That's a huge mistake to believe that this is how our life functions. And we say, Le'olam in our daily prayers, Le'olam yehe adam yere shamayim baseter kebagaloy umodeh al ha'emet. One sentence of daily prayers. Forever, may the person have irat shamayim in the privacy of their home like they behave publicly. When you see people publicly, what do you see in theory? You see a nice person, respectful, proper, elegant, measuring the words, how they talk, how they function. But when they come home, they take out the mask and they show the true self. So according to the prayer, the true self is the person at home, and the fake personality is the person on the street. And today's prayer and today's class is telling us that we need to be honest with ourselves. The idea doesn't mean, God forbid, act with the same arrogance or in the way that you behave or we behave at home, but the idea is that at home should be like on the street, which is not easy. A lot of people fake it publicly, but privately they scream, they yell, they treat people in a way that is very demeaning, and we can continue going on and on and on and on, but I don't think that I have to go any further, because I think the class of today is very practical and very clear. Measure your words. Measure, I don't mean counting the words, but I mean what we are going to say, how we are going to say, what delivery method you're going to select when you need to issue a statement. Imagine yourself, you're buying something in Amazon, or you want to send a FedEx envelope. How many options they give you how to deliver the product? Amazon pickup, Amazon locker, Amazon Prime, Amazon 3-day, Amazon 5 to 10 days, FedEx, next day delivery, signature required, PM delivery or AM delivery. You get so dizzy that you don't know what to pick at the end. Hamavdil ben Kodesh lehol, obviously you need to know the delivery method will determine how much you're going to be paying. So if you want it tomorrow morning, 10:30, you may be paying $70, $80. If you're willing to wait till the afternoon, you may be paying 40. And if you wait second day, you may be paying 15. I'm only giving you fictitious numbers. These numbers are not approved by FedEx or UPS. I'm only giving you a mashal. Same thing with the words. We can say something without thinking, and it will create Hiroshima round 2. Because whatever, anytime, every time that there is screaming and yelling at home, and it doesn't matter who it comes from, if it's the wife to the husband, or the husband to the wife, or the parents to the children, or God forbid, children to parents, you have an atomic explosion in your home, because the side effects and the pain and suffering, perhaps you don't see it. And men make a huge mistake. And I said this to a couple the other day. I said to the husband, you reason very well as a man, and that's your biggest problem, because you're thinking about your wife like she's a man, and you're not thinking about your wife like if she's a woman. What I'm trying to say, I'm not talking about in the fields of physicality, obviously not, but I'm talking about the emotions. Men are mechanical. Ladies are emotional. It doesn't matter who you are. A wife, a mother, a female is emotional. This is how Kadosh Baruch Hu made them. The man is more mechanical. This is not an insult. This is actually a compliment, because the emotions are very important. Obviously, the better the emotion, the better life becomes. Now, many times, the wife talks to the husband, and the husband doesn't listen. And I'm telling you this from professional experience. And a common comment that I hear from the wives in front of the husband, because that's the only way to fix a situation. If only one side wants to work out and wants to improve and get better, and the other is not interested, the chances of survival and success are very limited. But if both of them, they really have feelings or love each other, and they are willing to try, could be a happy ending story. But it needs to be the willingness to be more humble, to be more respectful, to be more encouraging, to be more caring, to be a better listener. Many times, the wife doesn't want our opinion and doesn't want our solutions. But what do they want? Validation. Validate what I'm saying. I see the smiles in the room, and I believe that these are words that you heard at home. Okay? I want you to listen to me. These are very common. Don't worry, I'm not exempt. Everything that I say, I include myself in the speech. Because at the end of the day, we are humans, and we all make mistakes. But as long as we know what is expected from us as husbands, as parents, because I may have spoken a lot about husband and wife relationship, but we must know that how the relationship between husband and wife is at home, like it or not, it has an automatic domino effect on the children. As I said to a wife the other day, no, my kids are young, they don't understand. I said to her respectfully, I beg to differ. Your children understand more than you know. And she says, Rabbi, you're very smart. I said, I'm not smart, I'm practical. He says, you know what my child asked me yesterday? Why do I sleep in his bedroom? Why is the mother sleeping in the child's bedroom? Why is she sleeping separated from the husband? So she told me, so what do you tell her? No, because I like the mattress in the kids' room. And I asked the wife, how long do you think that your child will buy that excuse? A day, a week, a month? Tomorrow you see it's going to happen. The son is going to go to the father and he says, buy a new mattress for mommy because she says that the mattress in the room is not comfortable. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that she listened and she's back in the room with her husband. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avot calls the children like a straw, like a sponge. The Mishnah says sponge. The Mishnah calls it sfog. Sfog. It absorbs. Whatever you portray at home, your kids will absorb. And it's a catch-22. If the kids are exposed to a happy, beautiful, friendly, loving, positive environment, Chazaku Baruch. But if the kids see Gog Magog at home, Gog Magog means the war before Mashiach survival. There is no kavod, there is no derech eretz, there is name calling. You so lazy, what do you do all day? I'm paying all the bills. All these comments, Rabotai, are a recipe for disaster. And today's Gemara is the foundation of the opening part of today's class. I think that I want to switch the topic now, and I repeat, Monday night, for ladies only, we're going to have a class about emotional bonding with the husbands. And Be'ezat Hashem, the men get the feedback from the class, and obviously our daily classes that we talk a lot about peace and harmony. Which, by the way, the opening statement of the Zohar of today is about peace, quoting a pasuk from the Torah, Deracheha darche Noam. I'm going to go back to the Gemara a minute. If Facebook, okay, and Twitter, and Instagram, and I don't know what else is there today, right, will follow today's Gemara, they will collapse in one day. They will not survive. Because the whole shtick that they sell is what? Expose your life to the world. Share things with the world. Like I asked one kid the other day, do you have friends? He tells me, in my Facebook page I have 524 friends. Nice. And how many friends do you have in school? I have no friends. I spoke to the parents when I got such an answer, telling them that they better change their game plan at home and try to help this young kid. It's not you, relax. Okay, relax, relax. Don't turn the camera. We want to keep his identity private, please. Baruch haba. Continues. Torah is the opposite. Be thoughtful, be kind, don't hurt people. How many times we hear comments that people write in blogs and in posts, destroying characters, destroying people's life, publicizing something that should have kept private. Let's go to the Zohar of today. The Zohar of today talks about the main message of the Torah. There are obviously, the Zohar Kadosh writes, many messages of the Torah. But one of the ways of the Torah, and the Pasuk says, Deracheha darche Noam. A Pasuk from Shlomo HaMelech. Bechol netivoteha shalom. All, the Gemara writes, all the roadways lead to Yerushalayim. That's a statement from the Talmud. But you know what the Zohar says today? What's Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim, it's known, Air Shel Shalom, the city of peace. And that's a kelal that we have. When there is peace in Yerushalayim, there is peace in the entire world. And we're heading there. Baruch Hashem, there are more embassies moving soon to Jerusalem, which, like it or not, these moves of the embassies to Jerusalem is a stepping stone to Mashiach's arrival. Because this is part of the master plan, that the entire kingdoms of the world will recognize Jerusalem and Hashem's leadership and kingdom in the world. Look at yesterday, the new Brazilian president. I'm sure you follow the news. You know what is his second name? Second name, Mashiach. Wow. Yes. Aha. Mashiach. He's the Orthodox Goy, religious Jew, who believes in the Torah, honors the Torah, and believes that the Torah and Am Israel is the real deal. And that's why he said to Netanyahu Friday, the question is not if we move the embassy, but when we're going to move the embassy. Rabotai, we need to understand that when more nations of the world recognize the goodness and the essence of Am Israel, pack your bags. Have your Shabbat suit ready. If it's not ready, send it to the cleaners. Leave it in the bag. So when the great day will arrive of the redemption of Am Israel, will come greeting Mashiach with a nice suit, with a nice tie. Hopefully will happen during the daytime. But according to what I learned the other night, it actually something fascinating. And I'm saying this prayer for many, many years, and only last Mosai Shabbat it hit me that the announcement of Mashiach could come at night. Perhaps the redemption may happen during the day, but the announcement will come at night, or could come at night. No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, whatever time it is. So, the idea is not to talk about Brazil elections, etc. And we hope that things start getting better and better for that country that has a beautiful Jewish community. And for many centuries already, Yehudim are living there. When I say centuries, past the Inquisition, from the 1500s till now. You go there today, Ben Porat Yosef, especially in San Pablo, you have everything that you need from a spiritual perspective to be able to live as an observant Yehudi in the 21st century. Nothing really it's lacking today, Baruch Hashem. But let's go back. The Zohar says that why the Torah gives us so many guidelines, why the Torah makes so much emphasis in perfecting our human behavior, because at the end of the day, the Zohar says, the whole idea of the Torah is to create pleasantness in the life of the person and make moves in life that will have the ultimate goal in life, to live a peaceful way of life. I was talking to somebody the other day that came from South America, and he's telling me that for him Mashiach came. I said, okay, I agree with that statement, because the Gemara in Berachot says that a person who prays daily with minyanim and learns Torah on a regular basis and performs daily act of kindness is compared like if that person redeemed God and the entire Jewish nation from exile. Which it makes sense. But I asked him, why in your book Mashiach already came? He says, because I'm able to be in Miami with Ishub Hadda'at, with the peace of mind. Says, you don't know what I go through every day. And we're not talking about someone, Haz v'Shalom, that struggles in business or has financial problems. The opposite. But it says, the fear, the fear of security, of fear of unexpected governmental rules, the fear of the currency devaluation, like those that come from South America, know very well. You can go to sleep wealthy, and the next morning your money is worthless. You were making 10,000, now the valuation became down to 5. Your property was worth X, and now it's worth Z. It says that fear is causing a tremendous amount of anxiety on people. And perhaps people in the United States, Baruch Hashem, should never know what this means. But we have here in the audience and in the Minyanim many wonderful members and visitors that come from countries that are experiencing tremendous amount of struggles. Venezuela, one of them, unfortunately. Argentina is very shaky. Let's hope, Brazil, let's hope that with a new president, Meshanem Makom, Meshanem Mazal, maybe hopefully a new fellow that is so pro-God and pro-Yehudim, Be'ezat Hashem, Hashem will give him great beracha for the welfare of the citizenship. It's not simple. It is not simple, Rabotai, to be a president of a country. But we need to know one thing. Presidencies and leaderships are pre-approved by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a pasuk by Shlomo HaMelech that says, Lev Melech Sarim B'yad Hashem, the heart of the kings, the heart of the presidents, the heart of the rulers are in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you may ask, so how can he influence politics? How can he influence government? You have the power to influence governments. And you'll be surprised at the answer. It's not necessarily limited to voting. You know, whenever at elections, we encourage people to go vote. Because at the end of the day, the constituents have this right. But there is a way, there is a tactic that we learn from the Zohar of today, that we can influence goodness to be revealed in the world. Because at the end of the day, the presence of darkness, as I think we mentioned a few days ago, is the lack of light. Meaning to say, darkness can exist because light is missing. That's the difference between day and night. And the Chovat HaLevavot writes, and many others say the same sentence, Kesat or dohe harbe min hachoshech. A bit of light dissipates a lot of darkness. The darkness represents the fear and the violence that exists in the world. And the Zohar says, if each person aims to be more peaceful, more respectful, more caring, more careful in the way we speak, our life will be better and the world will be better. This reminds me of a story of a fellow that after learning many years in yeshiva, he wanted to change the world. But he realized that the world was too big to change. So he said, I'm going to try to change my country, my state, my city, my neighborhood, my building, my family. And every time he says, impossible. At the end he came to the conclusion, I'm going to change myself. Because when we change, we create a positive domino effect. Somebody says good morning to you, and you say good morning back. That's a beautiful thing. But if you say somebody good morning, and the person doesn't answer you back, how do you feel?
Not good.
Hazaku Baruch. How would you feel if, God forbid, somebody screams at you?
Yeah.
Not good. How do you feel if somebody mistreats you? Not good. And that's what the Zohar says. The Zohar says that a person cannot minimize the topic of self-improvement as a way of a person being a good citizen, besides being a good Yehudi. How many times people get into fights due to road rage? Road rage, you know what it means, right?
Of course.
Okay. If not, the sergeant can give us a shiur on that as well. One day I'm going to stand there and you're going to sit here. Well,
I wish I would be so wise.
you have the best wisdom of history and in this room because you know what happens out there. And you know the ugly side of life. So perhaps sometimes it's important to create an awareness. We protect your identity, we'll change your voice, and we'll cover the video feed. So this way you are literally protected.
Anonymous.
Huh? Correct. But thank you. Thank you for all your efforts and everything you do. Let's go quickly to learn 5 strikes against the life of the person. 5 situations which are very difficult to fix. Doesn't mean impossible, but challenging. Number 1, a person who curses a group of people. We already know that cursing is forbidden. Cursing is wrong. Cursing is inappropriate. It does not matter the situation. Cursing is off limits.
What is cursing, Rabbi?
Cursing means maldições, palavrão, in Portuguese, of course. Insultos in Spanish. Okay? Insultar. Maldiciones, insultar. So the Musar of today says, imagine yourself that someone got upset for XYZ reason and cursed the whole kahal. The person went home and realized the mistake that he made. Now he wants to do teshuvah. How do you do teshuvah of that sin? You need to go to each person that was present when you acted in this way and ask for forgiveness. I ask you a question. Is that easy to do? No. What happened if there was a visitor from a different shul, from a different city? Now go find them. Do you remember you saw somebody from Mexico, Shabbat? Yeah, I saw 70 members from Mexico. Go find them. You're going to go to TSA at the airport, give me the list of the Mexican members that came to Miami, to the Safra Synagogue. You're going to check the toll. So the Rambam says that this is a situation that a person cannot truly do teshuvah. Because part of teshuvah, especially in this type of action, is apologizing to the person, which perhaps I should have said this also in the topic of shalom between husband and wife. Apologizing is actually a great thing to do. Don't look at an apology as a sign of weakness. God forbid. When a person apologizes, that is the teshuvah process of the person's life. First step of the person's life. Number 2, this is more on the criminal act. A person who splits the money stolen money. Somebody steals the money and you become a partner in crime. I'll give you a ride, I'll introduce you to the person, then behind the scenes we split the money. Or if it's done on a business level and you say uli. So all the money that I made and the money that I use is from victims. And victims doesn't necessarily mean cheating somebody in the business. You sold something refurbished for new, or you change the label and you change the catalog and you fake the item. Today I'm not sure if people still do this, but we're talking about, scams. Has the shalom. So how do you fix it? You need to return the money. Part of teshuvah is returning the money and asking for forgiveness. But guess what? You don't know who the victim is. Maybe the victim was somebody from the street and you took advantage of the person. So how do you fix the problem? So I give you a formula that is not 100% foolproof. You must return the money, but you don't know who the person is. The halakha gives a formula. Go to the rabbi, give the money to the rabbi. Not for the rabbi's benefit, God forbid, but to do things to benefit the community. Like this person hurt the public financially, now we need to do something to benefit the public. It doesn't mean that the teshuvah is a complete teshuvah, because you still need to apologize to the victim. And if we know who the victim is, the money must be returned. I tell you a happy ending story, at least partially, not a full healing, but at least partial healing. This story goes back many years. There was an investment, a pool of investments made by people, and unfortunately people started to say Kaddish on the money. Kaddish on the money means Kaddish and Ashkava. The money went one way. The money did not come back. So Baruch Hashem, after a couple of meetings and appointments, the person who took the money started to pay back. Slowly. But it's a good sign. And I told the victims that they need to be thankful that this person has the decency of returning the money 12 years after this incident happened. 12 years. There is hope. But in order for a person to do that, the person needs to have also Yirat Shamayim, to understand that there is a God and there is consequences from the actions that a person does. Number 3, a person who found a lost item. There is a positive commandment from the Torah that if you find something, you must announce the object that you found. I'm giving you a nutshell, but I give you 2-3 parameters. Anything you find in a home, in a synagogue, in a school, in a private setting, in a mikveh, let's say, you cannot take it for yourself. You must announce, I found a watch. I found a pair of glasses. I found a cell phone. By the way, this happened in the synagogue more often than you think. Tefilimot taken by mistake. Oh, my koracha, I think it's upstairs. You got it?
Yeah, but no, but you changed it.
Okay, so we found it. Somebody came last night and gave me a tefillin.
Have my name on this side.
Go upstairs. I don't know. Just go upstairs. Now, I have tefilimot. I have maybe 10, 12 reading glasses. All kinds. Sunglasses. Watches. You want to get them? You must tell me the brand. You must tell me the siman. Even money. Even money. You cannot just take it. Why not? Because anything that happens on a private domain, the private domain acquires the item. But if you're walking on the street and you found a $20 bill, what are you going to stand in Country Club Drive announcing who lost $20? Items that do not have an identification mark, for example, like a dollar bill. But if you find a wallet, okay, you have an obligation to return it. But what happens now? A person who found a lost item, but doesn't announce. This is the reason why in the Bet HaMikdash, שלוש פעמים בשנה, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, there will be the higher place in the area of the Beit HaMikdash, that they will stand on top of it, and they will announce, anyone who lost items, no, relax, relax. This is the way it used to be done. Anyone who lost money, glasses, cell phones, wires, go to the lost and found of the Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because for sure, if someone lost something in Pesach, this person was coming back Shavuot or Sukkot, because there is a mitzvah to come to the Beit HaMikdash 3 times, shalosh pe'amim b'shana. Now, so what happens now? You found something today. If you're going to wait till next Monday to announce, maybe the person who lost it today is not here anymore. Which this is something that happens in our shul very often. So if you lost tefilimot, reading glasses, or specific items, check with the office. Our maintenance crew is very honest and very transparent, and anytime they find something, they bring it to the office. So feel free to go, and the office staff will take care of it. Number 4, a person who eats money earmarked for the widows, the orphans, and the needy. In other words, you have money for the needy, or you collect money for the needy, and then you say, I'm needy, so I'm going to take it for myself. That's also a problem, because when people gave you the money, they didn't give it to you because you are needy. You said, I'm collecting for widows, I'm collecting for orphans. Maybe you're a good actor, and you paint a nice emotional picture. That's why when people come to collect, you know, sometimes you see me that I'm a bit tough with love. You know me already. I'm not a tough person, but I want to be a straight shooter. I want to make sure that those that come to collect, they have a certain way of verification in order for the mitzvah to be considered a good mitzvah. Number 5, a judge or someone that accepts shohad. Shohad means in Spanish soborno, bribe. What happens now? La mordida in Mexico. Okay? What happens now? A judge gave a different ruling that he's supposed to give. Instead of saying guilty, he said innocent. Instead of saying innocent, he said guilty. And we have no idea the side effect that such a ruling can bring on the person. Maybe somebody wanted to make a shidduch with you, and now they heard that you lost the case against Mr. Richmond or Mr. Goodman or Mr. Cohen, and they say, forget about it. The judge says that he needs to pay. The only reason the judge says he needs to pay was because the other party paid him a vacation to Israel or to Cuba that today is available. I cannot guarantee you a minyan in Cuba. You understand? So now go do teshuvah. Go fix the problem. And that's what the Rambam says. Davar sheyesh lahem raglaim. Every scenario that we mention, cursing people, splitting the stolen money, not announcing items that were found, eating the money earmarked for the needy, or accepting bribes, these are items that have side effects. And we don't know the domino effect that it could bring to the person. Therefore, Rabotai, I'm sure, looking around the audience, that nobody's involved in any of these situations, but if Has v'Shalom, we may have been, definitely teshuvah and repentance and returning, it's mandatory in order for us to truly live a life of teshuvah and not, God forbid, the opposite. One short message from the Musar of today. The Musar of today talks about the concept of teshuvah. It says, Borei Olam wants the teshuvah of the person. In other words, God believes in us. As we heard last night from Rabbi Yadid's beautiful class, the soon will be sent to the Kahal. Borei Olam believes in us, in the potential that we have. So even if a person, God forbid, may have been involved in any of the examples we brought today, Shalom Bayit in the home, the vocabulary or the way the person talks, or the 5 topics of the halakha of today, or the message of the Musar of today, it says the doors of Teshuvah are always open. It's just a matter that a person says, I want to enhance my life. I want to become a better person. I want to become a better Jew. And Be'ezat Hashem, in this zechut, that Hashem, obviously, as we say in the Selichot, Ki yeminecha peshuta. The Torah believes in the rehabilitation of the person. And I'm going to say something, this will conclude. You know that in the Torah law, there is no jail system. According to the Torah, jails do not exist. In the law of the land, all over the world, there are jails. Medium security, maximum security, country club style. They're all levels. And you don't need to go check them out. Believe me. I've been there. I've been there visiting people, visiting inmates for different types of situations. I'm not proud or happy to speak about it, but it's the reality of life. What happens after a person comes out of jail? Depends on the situation. Sometimes it was a great experience to wake the person up, but sometimes the person now became a hacham. He learns a lot of tools of survival. He learns a lot of things what to do. The Torah doesn't go with that kind of mindset. In Israel, for the record, they have a jail system. They have to have it. If it's terrorism or criminal acts, etc. But you'll be surprised how many people in Israeli jails learn Torah daily. And they become moral prisoners. They don't create riots. They don't create problems. They rehabilitate themselves through Torah. You know that there are yeshivot in the jail? In Israel, there are yeshivot in jail. And even in America, there are certain jails that organizes, at least in Miami, I'm sure, I know that for a fact, every Wednesday, they have Torah classes for inmates. And they tell me, because I speak to them when I go, that the highlight of the week is when they have an hour of Torah. 1 hour a week, they wait all week long to come. And obviously, Goim also come. Because they feel that that's the hour of sanity. I don't want to go too much into this topic. But why there is no jail system in the Torah? Because the Torah believes that the person can be rehabilitated, can be changed. It's not automatic. Let me clarify. But if there is a will, there is a way. This is the end of today's class. May Hashem give everybody a lovely day and a happy life. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.